Welcome friends once again in my YouTube channel. So in my last video we discussed few of the points about Robert Frost. So in this video the further or the next points we are going to discuss. So in last video we were discussing that in the year of 1924 Robert Frost won the first of the four Pulitzer Prizes for the book New Hampshire, a poem with notes and grace notes. So it's a very important point. You have to keep it in your mind that he got his first Pulitzer Prize for his book New Hampshire, subtitle A Poem with Notes and Grace Notes. It was given to him in the year of 1924. Next point, he would win additional Pulitzer Prize for collected poems in 1931. So that means the second Pulitzer Prize he got in the year of 1931 for his collection of books is called Collected Poems. The third one he got in the year of 1937 for his poetry collection of Further Range. And the last one, the fourth Pulitzer Prize he got in the year of 1943 for poetry collection A Witness Tree. So all these four are important. You have to keep it in your mind. The first Pulitzer Prize he got in the year of 1924 for his poetry collection New Hampshire, a poem with notes and grace notes. Second Pulitzer Prize he got in the year of 1931 for his poetry collection Collected Poems. The next one in the year of 1937 for A Further Range, and the last one in the year of 1943 for a poetry collection A Witness Tree. Now the next point is he's one of the American poets who are highly loved and admired in India. As I told you before in my last video that he's widely popular around the globe and also in India. The next point is he was called upon to recite a poem The Gift outright when President Kennedy took office on January 20, 1961. So when Kennedy was elected the President of America, so at that time Robert Frost was called to recite a poem. So at that time he recited a poem The Gift outright. Very important point. The next point is now we are going to talk about the poetry collections of Robert Frost. His first poetry collection was A Boy's Will. Right, it was his first public book which was published in 1913. As I told you in my last video, his earlier works published in England first and then after they published in America. His second poetry collection was North of Boston. It was published next year in 1914. Few of the famous poems from these collections are After Apple Picking, second one The Death of the Hired Man, and the last one is Mending Walls. Next poetic collection is Mountain Interval. It was published in 1916. Few of the poems from these collections are Breeches, Out, The Oven Bird, The Road Not Taken. Very important one. The question can be asked, the road not taken is from which collection of Robert Frost? So your answer will be Mountain Interval. Next one, Selected Poems. It was published in 1923. So includes poems from first three volumes and the poem The Runway. Right. So in Selected Poems, there are the poems from first three volumes of poetry which are written here, and the new poem was added in it as well, and the name of that poem was The Runway. Next point, his next poetry collection was published in 1923, same year, with the name New Hampshire. You all know that he got his first Pulitzer Prize for the same collection, New Hampshire. And what was the subtitle? You have to comment, you have to tell me in comment section below what was the subtitle or what is the subtitle for this poetry collection New Hampshire. So few of the famous poems from these collections are Fire and Ice, Nothing Gold Can Stay. Next one, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Very important and famous poem written by Robert Frost. We all know that our first Prime Minister, Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, he used to keep few lines of this poetry to get motivation or inspiration in his desk, and the lines were, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Important point, you have to keep it in your mind too, this point. The next poetic collection is several short poems. It was published in 1924. Next poetic collection is West. Few of the famous poems from this collection are Running Brook. It was published in 1928. Acquainted with the Night, Tree at My Window. Next poetic collection, The Lovely Selby Chooses the Poetry Quarter. It was published in 1929. Next point, Collected Poems of Robert Frost, published in 1930. Next poetic collection, The Lone Striker, published in 1933. Next point, or poetic collection, published in 1935 by the name Three Poems. The next poetic collection is The Cold Hempredy. It was published in 1935. The next one is From Snow to Snow. It was published in 1936. And the next one is A Further Range. If you know that he also got one of his Pulitzer Prize for this collection of poetry called A Further Range. It was published in 1936. Next, very important one, A Witness Tree. It was published in 1942. So few of the poems from these collections are The Gift Outright, A Question, The Silken Tent. Next poetry collection is Come In and Other Poems, published in 1943. Next one is Steeple Bush, published in 1947. Next poetry collection is Complete Poems of Robert Frost. It was published in 1949. Then Hard Not to Be King. It was published in 1951. Aforesaid, published in 1944. Next is A Remembrance, collection of new poems, published in 1959. Next, You Come To. It was published in 1964. Next one is In the Clearing. It was published in 1962. And the last one is The Poetry of Robert Frost. It was published in 1969. Not only poems, Robert Frost had also written few plays.